Imagine being told that to truly belong, you have to destroy everything that came before. That's the wild premise at the heart of Deuteronomy chapter 12. And let me tell you, this ancient text is way more than just a set of religious rules. It's a revolutionary blueprint for forging a national identity, and it demands a radical shift from scattered local worship to one single unified center. Right out of the gate, there's no gentle introduction. The chapter just drops this sweeping, violent command on you. The first step to building this new identity isn't construction, it's total erasure. And this one sentence sets up the whole challenge. How in the world do you forge a unique culture in a land that's already filled with the sacred places of other people? To really get why this command for destruction is so intense, we have to try and see the world through the text's eyes. The Israelites were about to enter a land that was just saturated with the customs and gods of other nations. And from the perspective of this law, that cultural landscape wasn't just, different. It was seen as a direct threat to their survival as a distinct people. I mean, try to picture it. A landscape where every single hilltop, every big impressive tree could be a potential site for worship. This was the world they were walking into. The text frames this whole thing as a huge risk of assimilation. The danger that their unique identity would just kind of dissolve into all the local customs. The goal was to replace what they saw as religious chaos with a brand new kind of order. And the instructions for preventing this chaos are methodical and, well, absolute. It's basically a step-by-step guide to desanctifying the entire land. You've got to break the altars, smash the sacred stones, burn their Asherah poles, which were these sacred objects for a Canaanite goddess, cut down the idols, and then finally wipe out the very names of these gods from those places. It's all about creating a completely clean slate, leaving zero trace of the old ways. Okay, so once that slate has been wiped totally clean, what happens next? Out of all that destruction rises the chapter's core, really revolutionary idea: the centralization of all legitimate worship into one single location. The text introduces this concept of the chosen place. Now, this isn't just any old temple. It's the one and only location that God himself will choose to put his name. That phrase is so important, it's meant to signify a unique, authorized divine presence. From this point on, all national religious life is going to be focused on this single, powerful point. And this new system is presented as a huge contrast to their past. The text explicitly says their previous state was a bit of a free-for-all, one where everyone was doing as they saw fit. So this new law is a very deliberate move away from religious individualism and a huge step toward a structured, unified national system. It's all about bringing order and discipline. So what exactly has to happen at this central place? Essentially, everything important. All your offerings, your tithes, your firstborn animals, every single act of religious significance now has a single destination. I mean, think about that. That's a massive theological and, frankly, logistical challenge for an entire people. Of course, a change this big doesn't just stay in the temple. It radically changes day-to-day life. And one of the most immediate consequences shows up in something everybody does: eating. This new system creates a whole new set of rules for meals. So this new law creates a really clear line between two kinds of meals. On one side, you have sacred meals, the ones with tithes and offerings. Those have to be eaten at the chosen place as part of a big communal celebration. But on the other side, you've got just regular, everyday meat. That can be slaughtered and eaten right in your own town, treated just like you'd treat a wild animal, like a gazelle or a deer. And the text is actually surprisingly practical. It recognizes that having one central sanctuary for a whole nation, well, that's a huge logistical headache. What if he lived days and days away? The law provides a really smart solution. If the place is too far, you're allowed to slaughter and eat your animals locally. The key, though, is that this is for sustenance, not for sacrifice. But within all these new rules, one command is absolute. It's non-negotiable, and it's repeated for some heavy emphasis. You must not eat the blood. The text is incredibly clear about this, saying the blood is the life. It has to be drained and poured onto the ground like water, never, ever consumed. And this rule applies everywhere, whether the meal is sacred or just your Tuesday night dinner. So with all of these rules and regulations, you gotta ask, what's the ultimate goal? This quote really gets to the heart of it. It's about joy. It's about families gathering, sharing a meal, and just celebrating the blessings in their lives. So this strict structure is ultimately meant to lead to communal rejoicing. So after laying out this new system of joyful, centralized worship, the text circles right back to its original warning. It reinforces just how critical it is to maintain those strict boundaries against assimilation, reminding everyone what's really at stake here. And here, the text goes even deeper than just forbidding actions. It argues that the real danger doesn't begin with imitation, but with simple curiosity, with the very act of just asking how other nations worship. This is the precise question the text warns them never ever to ask. It identifies this line of thinking as the slippery slope that leads directly to imitation and, at the end of the day, to abandoning their own unique identity. The boundary, it seems, has to be mental as well as physical. And why such a strict rule against even asking a question? Well, the text gives a pretty stark justification. It claims the religious practices of the surrounding nations involve detestable things that the Lord hates, even citing the horrific practice of child sacrifice. So the separation is framed as a moral imperative, a way to protect the whole community from these absolutely abhorrent acts. So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see this isn't just some arbitrary list of rules. Deuteronomy 12 is a comprehensive blueprint for building a national identity. It uses shared rituals and a single sacred space as the foundation to unify a people, not just spiritually, but culturally and politically too. The chapter then concludes with this powerful final command. The system is presented as complete, as perfect. It's not a set of guidelines to be adapted. It's a fixed law to be followed precisely. It leaves absolutely no room for addition or subtraction. This is the new standard, the very definition of their way of life. And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This ancient text powerfully shows how centralizing worship and creating shared rituals can forge a really strong collective identity. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What are the shared rules, the rituals, and the central places, whether they're physical or ideological, that shape and define our own communities today?